Before we get started, I wanted to tell you about our Snoo Clips repair kit. One of the reasons why you would need to do this repair is if you keep getting the message on your app that the Snoo Clips are not engaged. If you want to avoid the hassle of soldering wires together, our Snoo Clips repair kit will fix your faulty wire with no soldering required. You simply align the wires in the wire connector and then clamp them together. To order your Snoo Clips repair kit, go to our website at www.snoozymama.com or simply click on the link in the description below. We offer fast and free shipping so you can get your Snoo up and running in no time. So these wires here are what is telling your Snoo that your Snoo sack is clipped into the safety clips. If the Snoo thinks that the sack is not connected, the Snoo will not go. So if there's an issue with the wiring here, then the Snoo thinks that the sack is not engaged, and so your Snoo will not go. Therefore, you're getting the Snoo clips are not engaged error on your app, and your Snoo will not move. So in order to diagnose this, you take the 3 wires. So the 3 wire here is for the clips. This 2 wire is for the speaker. So we don't really care about this right now. How you check to see if the connection is good or bad is all within the top here. So there's 3 little wires. It's something that happened internally. They got dislodged, and since they're very fragile. So how you can test to see if they are connected or not is you want to make sure that they're all very stiff. These 3 wires should be stiff. Let me show you one that is not stiff. So this, I've made it simpler for us to see here when I'm talking about the connection. These 3 wires are the ones that we have cut off from here. How you can tell if the connection is good or not, we can't see it with our eye because it's underneath this black sheath. This one here on the side, you see how loose it is? This one is broken. You see, I can easily move this. This one here in the middle is very stiff. It's hard for me to move and it's solid. So that one is not broken. But these ones on the side, you see how wiggly it is? The connection inside is broken. Therefore, I know that that is the wire that I need to replace. So now we need to figure out which wires we're going to cut. So if you have your Snoo open like this, you should have 3 wires sticking out. The 2-prong wire is to the speaker, and we're not going to touch this one. That leaves you with these 2. These are the 3-prong wires. These are the ones that are telling us if the clips are engaged or not. So after we figured out which side is the problem by testing to see which wires are loose, that's how we're going to decide which side we're going to cut. And even if you do the wrong side, that's okay, because in our kit, we have both sides for you to do. To order your Snoo Clips repair kit, go to our website at www.snoozymama.com or simply click on the link in the description below. We offer fast and free shipping so you can get your Snoo up and running in no time. So if you've purchased our kit, this is what you're going to receive. You're going to get 4 of these solderless wire connectors, and you're going to get 4 wires. You'll see that these wires match the wires to the Snoo. You're going to get 2 females and 2 males. So you will be able to replace both sides if that's the case, if both sides are broken. How you can tell the difference between the male and the female is the female has the 3 prongs inside, and the males don't have the prongs on the inside. The majority of the issues are going to come from the female side, so you will most likely only be using these connectors, the female ones. These solderless wire connectors are also what's coming into your kit. These are very easy to use. You're just going to line the wires up 1, 2, 3 on the other side, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to clamp them down. But now we need to figure out which wires go where. It's very important that we have the right wires in the right spots. So the next thing we need to do is figure out which wires go where. If you take your old broken wire and your new wire, you're gonna line them up and match them so they're both facing up. How you do this is you should see a little tiny opening on both, and you can see the little prong in there. Then you want to match the wires. So on this one, the gray matches the red, the black is in the middle, and the yellow matches the black. Here's a picture for reference. Our next step is we're going to cut the wire. You're going to want to cut the wire below the black part here. Mine's already cut, but you want to go about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So cut this off. This part is trash. We don't need this anymore. This is the broken section. So now that we have the wire cut, we need to strip the wire about 1/2 centimeter. So take your wire strippers. It should look like this. So once they're stripped, we want to pull the wires apart gently, about 1 inch. This is going to make it a lot easier to put into the wireless connector. After you strip the wires, you're going to want to bend them down to make a better connection. So it should look something like this. So from here, we're going to grab our connector clip. If yours came clipped in, the easiest way to open it is grab some tweezers and just wedge it underneath this tiny plastic part here and pop them up. When you're holding it though, you want to make sure you're holding it right in the middle, or else you'll clip this side down. This next step is really important because we need to make sure the wires are facing down. If you look inside of the clip here, there's 3 little holes. We need to put the wires inside of those 3 holes and push them as far back as we can. And we need to make sure that the wire is facing down. The reason we need to put our metal wire facing down is because inside of here is the other metal portion that makes the connection. So the wire needs to be facing downwards. So we want to make sure that we are lining up the wires into the holes there. And we want to make sure the wires are straight so we get the connection. You want to push it all the way in. And then clamp down. You might need to grab a set of pliers. You'll hear a click. You do that on each side. And now this side is done. So we want to ensure that the wires are straight into each connection port. If they wandered off to the side, it's not going to make the connection and it's not going to work. So just double check and make sure that your wiring is straight into each connection port. This is an example of how the wires should look in the clip. You see how they're all straight? This is an example of how the wires should not look. These wires are crooked. So now we're going to grab our new wire, the one that came in your kit, and we need to do the same thing on this side. We're going to want to cut these because these are going to be too long. Depending on how long your old wire is, we don't want a bunch of extra wire because we still have to fish it in. So we probably want to cut halfway. Okay, so we're going to strip the new wires. Now that we have our wires stripped, we do want to do the same thing by bending the stripped part, but it's important that we know which way we're bending, because remember we have to bend down. So you want to make sure that our wires are aligned. So you want the yellow wire to line up with the black wire, the black in the middle, and the red wire needs to line up with the gray wire. So now that we know which way they're going to go in, we want to bend the wires down, just like we did with the other one. And the same thing, we want to make sure that the wires are aligned into the little circles. Then I'm going to clamp down. So if you guys are running into a problem, if you can't clamp it down, the wire might not be aligned correctly. The red wire, as you can see, is traveled off to the side here. It's not straight in the connection. At this point, you'll have to unclamp and start over. So take a tweezer and lift up on the plastic. So if you're taking them out, you don't want the wires flared. You need them straight. So you're going to straighten them out and gently twist the wire. And then we have to bend them down again. So remember, line them up, the yellow with the black with the gray, and the red with the gray, so that you know which way to bend. And we'll try it again. The easiest way to look at this, though, is you need to look at it from this angle. So you want to be facing the circles, so you can easily glide them in. Push them all the way down. Once they're straightly aligned, then you can clamp. Remember, you'll hear a little click on each side. And now we have created a new connection. Now I'm going to go over some troubleshooting tips if you're still getting the clips not engaged error. The first thing I want to say is, if you're still getting the clips not engaged error, you might have to do this connection on both sides because we're not sure which one's broken. The other thing is before you turn it on and try to test it, make sure that you have a snoo stack attached to the clips, or else it's not going to work. If you're still getting the clips not engaged error, we might need to take this apart and see if the wire is severed down further. Before we do that, I want you guys to really make sure that all of your wires are aligned straightly. Because if one of these wires are crooked, it's not going to make the connection. That's the most important part, is we want to make sure this wire is connecting to this wire and on all three of them. If those are all straight, then we want to find where the cause is. One of the options is the wire could be severed lower down, and that's why the connection's not making it. So just similar as to why it broke in the first place, it could be severed inside of the sheath here. So we'll have to open this back up. So take tweezers and pop the sides open. But we're doing this only on the snoo wire side, the original wire. The quickest way to pop these clips back off is take some tweezers, and you want to push outwards to unclip it. So we're going to take it out. We're going to straighten these wires. And we're going to gently tug on them to see if the wire is loose. So when we're tugging on this, we're tugging on the internal wire, so the copper wire, because that's what could be severed inside of the sheath here. So we're seeing if the internal wire is coming out, the copper wire. These ones are all intact, but if you can see, I'm gently tugging on them. If one of your wires were to be loose, you would be able to feel it, and the internal wire will just slip out. Depending on how much wire comes out, if that's your problem, you would then have to measure whatever wire came out and cut below that line. So if this much came out, we would need to cut below to make sure that we are getting rid of the bad wire. We would then do the same process over, strip the new wire, and apply the clips how we did it before. This is what the final result will look like. Remember your yellow to the black in the middle, and the red to the gray. So now we can put the base back on. We got to put the top on. I'm assuming if you are doing this repair, you've already been inside of your snoo, so you have a better idea of how to get it back together. But I do want to say I use these little sticks. These are very helpful in aligning the base back on when we put those 6 screws in. I like to take these, pop them in the middle brown bracket here, and pop it in that bottom hole on both sides. This will help this brown piece stay aligned, so when we put the 3 screws in on each side, it will screw in to the holes. So once we have that done, we're going to put our plate back on. I'll line it up. Now we're going to fish our wires through. You can take a hook. If you're having a hard time, I don't want you to pull on the wires. If you can't figure out which side you need to loosen, lift up, use these little holes here, lift up so you can have a little bit more wiggle room. Sometimes these wires get stuck underneath. Now our new connection here should fit right into our old connector. And you are done. This is how your finished product should look. Black, yellow, black. Then we have our middle connection here. And then on the side, it should be gray, red to gray. To order your Snoo Clips repair kit, go to our website at www.snoozymama.com or simply click on the link in the description below. We offer fast and free shipping so you can get your Snoo up and running in no time.